Hi, you join me today at Monk Lakes for the latest instalment of the Knowledge is Power series. We're on Bridges Lake today, which is a lovely lake, absolutely crammed full of fish. And I recently won a 2-day silverfish event here, fishing for bream and skimmers. So I'm going to run you through a few little tips and tricks that'll hopefully put a few more fish in the bank on this really bitterly cold time of year. Make sure you hang around till the end of the video because I'll be revealing the winner of the Stephen Parry competition, as well as giving away a few of the bits and bobs I've been using today. Hi Bailey, thanks very much for the question. My favourite bream mix for the pole would have to be Sweet Marine. It's a lovely rich mix from Mainline Match. It's just got about the right amount of particles in it, and this time of year I like to cut it half and half with the crushed expanded from Mainline Match as well, just because that's a nice fine texture, just takes a bit of the larger food particles out of it. And I'd actually use this on a feeder as well. I'd use it on the pole happily, but it's the perfect mix for fishing around a method or in a hybrid as well, so yeah, that would be my choice. Hi Darren, thanks for your question. How long would I leave a hybrid out there or a method in the winter? It's very hard to say and very venue dependent, so I'm going to apply it to Bridges today. It's very cold today, it's probably only been a few degrees this week most days, so I would say the best thing to do is get yourself a stopwatch like this and start off your cast maybe timing 15 minutes, and I feel like that's a good starting point. And if you're really not getting many bites, then maybe look to leave it out there a little bit longer. But if you notice on your stopwatch you're getting bites maybe after 6 or 7 minutes, then be tempted to cast a little bit more regular. So yeah, I'd say invest in a stopwatch and time your bites and let the fish tell you what to do. Hi Josh, yeah, the best methods for fishing for silvers in the winter, again it's very venue dependent. I can only apply it to sort of Bridges Lake today, which is probably a lot like a lot of fisheries up and down the country, where it's mainly skimmers, bream and some roach as well and an odd tench. I'd say feeder fishing and pole fishing are probably number ones on my list, and I'd say a feeder line or two, maybe one where you're going to feed a little bit of bait shorter, and a longer line where you're going to cast a lot less regularly is a good starting point. And on a pole line, I'll probably look to fish quite far out, maybe 14 or 16 metres, depending on the depth of the water sort of thing, and feed a better bait on the pole at the start of your session, and look to fish your feeder lines for a good couple of hours, then come in on that pole line where you fed a bit of bait and hopefully there'll be some fish waiting for you there. Hi Callum, small skimmers and roach on commercial fisheries, I would look to fish for them on a pole just because they're so much quicker than fishing on a feeder or a waggler even. And I would say, especially like conditions have been just recently where there's been not too much wind, I would say some loose ground bait, a fine loose ground bait at that, maybe sift off your ground bait and use particles such as micro pellets, maybe not so many micros this time of year, dead pinky, sort of dead maggots, and alternate between either maggots or pinkies on the hook. Like I say, probably kicking off your peg with like a couple of pots of loose ground bait and maybe one richer ball in the middle of it. That's a good way to start your peg, just because it gets a bit of a cloud in the water and is more likely to attract those smaller skimmers and roach. So yeah, that would be my approach. Okay, so shotting patterns. I like to keep it really simple when it comes to shotting. For most of my fishing, if I'm trying to target fish fishing on the bottom, I'm going to fish probably a bulk and either 1 or 2 droppers, quite big droppers at that, anything from a number 8 to a number 10 dropper, just because I want my bait on the bottom and it's quite stable, and I want like fish like skimmers and bream to be feeding comfortably over beds of bait and my rig to be presented properly. Whereas if I'm fishing for, say, roach on the drop or smaller skimmers on the drop, I'd look to fish a more strung out style rig, probably with a carbon stem. And yeah, that would probably be more like number 9, number 10 and even number 11 shot. Spaced out, probably a tapered bolt going towards the hook. And yeah, you're more likely to catch fish on the drop that way, and usually the smaller fish as well. So yeah, that's how I go about shotting my rigs. This is my 1-minute masterclass, and it's going to be all about giving yourself more than one bite of the cherry. By this, I mean when you're fishing a feeder like you do on venues like this at Bridges, and you're faced with a big island like I've got today, I mean, don't start on your best spot. So I would look to cast probably 2 or 3 rod lengths off the island, and while this might not be the best place to get me a bite straight away, it gives me a chance to chase the fish up to the island and maybe even along the island as well. So say if I'm fishing a peg like I am today, where I'm pretty confident that the left-hand side of this island is going to be better, I'll start straight out in front of me and I'll look to encroach my way up towards the island, and then if bites died off again, I'll be able to follow them around the island a little bit as well. So it's about not blowing your peg too early, timing it, because the worst thing you can do in a match especially is fish for 3 hours, catch all the fish in your peg and have nothing left for the last 2. So start off, have a real think about your peg, get your timings right, and you can chase the fish along the island and hopefully catch all day long. Right, it's time to announce the winner from the Stephen Parry competition, and the winner is, it's 81 Brett Cox. Well done, mate. Someone from the Guru team will be in touch with you very shortly, and we'll get those prizes delivered to you. And now for my competition, to be in with a chance to win some of the bits and bobs I've used today, just simply head down to the comment section and I want to hear about your best bream haul and where you caught it from. Okay, now on to today's session. It's been tricky, to be honest. It's been very cold the last few days, but it's been really successful. We've had sort of 7 bream, all on the feeder. Unfortunately, it's a little bit cold for the pole today. Water's gone very clear, and we've had sort of 3 or 4 frosts this week already, so it's been all feeder fishing to the island. I started off on a spot probably 2 or 3 rod lengths off the island, and to be honest, it didn't really happen. I had 2 casts there, no indications at all. So I unclipped, sort of went a few metres further out. I caught 3 there in as many casts, not one every not straight away, but probably waiting between 10 and 15 minutes for a bite, and then that sort of died for 2 or 3 casts. And what I've ended up doing is I've chucked to my left towards the left hand side of the island where I felt the fish were coming from. I've caught 3 there in as many casts again, and then for the very last cast of the day I unclipped again on that same line, cast about 2 or 3 metres further again. I caught 1 more there just to finish off the day perfectly. So yeah, it's been a very good day, all on hybrid feeder tactics and wafters. So yeah, hopefully if these have been some good tips for you guys, and give them a go yourselves.